Hi guys, welcome back to Guild Chat. Happy Friday. I'm here with three of our Guild Wars 2 developers today. We're going to be talking about animation in Guild Wars 2. Since we're talking about Salvation Pass a lot lately and the Slothasaur boss, we're going to be focusing on that primarily and then expanding into a few other animation things in Guild Wars 2. Speaking of Salvation Pass, Crystal Reid is one of the developers with me today. We've been talking about this Slothosaur guy a lot the past few weeks.
Yes.
We have not answered a very important question, which is, it's very nice hearing about Salvation Pass. It's very nice hearing about the Slothosaur boss, but when do we get to play with this? When is it released? Can you tell us?
Oh, you want to play the raid?
I want to play the raid. It's fun to talk about. I want
March
to know
8th.
when.
March 8th.
March 8th, you guys. Salvation Pass.
Like,
coming-
that's like real soon.
Yes, it is. March 8th, 2016. We should, just in case, specify that it is
Yes,
2016.
Of this year. So in
Yeah.
a week and a half.
Yep, week and a half, Salvation Pass is coming. All right, that was a good guild chat. See you next. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so Crystal's with us. You guys are familiar with Crystal. We have a couple of other guys with us too. Matt and Jason. You want to do it
Hey.
again?
Hi, Ruby.
Hi, Matt. For those of you who are new, I will go down the line and start with you. Let you guys introduce yourselves and talk about what you do here at ArenaNet.
My name is Crystal Reid, and I'm a game designer, and I work on the raids team.
Yay.
My name's Matthew Tate. I'm an animator and been doing a lot of creature stuff lately, which I love. How about
Nice.
you, buddy?
My name is Jason Reynolds. I'm also a game designer, and I'm also on the raids team.
I can't help but notice that we left the Sass King thing off of your
I
name
know, I
this
don't have
time.
my Sass King title. I don't understand.
Last time Jason was the Sass King, but that's okay.
Oh, you didn't bring that back?
I've been demoted.
We didn't bring that back.
Request business cards.
I love that idea.
I seriously would want a business card that said Sass King for you.
Yeah.
That'd be great. All right, well, why don't we just
So
kind
much
of
credibility.
jump on in? We could do this for a while. We've been doing it for like an hour now, but we should talk about animation because I thought that might be cool to talk about today.
Oh, I like animation.
Do you? You should do it for a living. I think it'd be pretty great. All right, so let's start talking about the Slothasaur. And Jason, you worked on Gorseval
Yes.
a lot, and we talked a few weeks ago in the Creature live stream about how we reuse a lot of rigs just to give us some building blocks to work with, so you guys don't have to throw everything out, start from scratch. And I'll let you guys kind of run with that as far as Gorseval and Slothasaur and the rigs we used for that.
They have something in common.
They
do.
do.
Or they used to.
Well, they used to.
For a time.
They have a similar lineage. So Gorseval started off as a prototype, and story-wise, which changed, spoilers, he used to be like a wood demon.
Lord of the Woods.
Lord of the Woods. And so he was actually on an Oakart rig, and he was all bramble based. Internally, his name is actually still Bramble Boss. So he was based off of that rig, which is the same rig as Sloth Boss, and we decided that when we were changing the story over to like be more ghostly, that the Oakart wasn't really a good fit. And we also had some really cool budget time, which I love. So we pitched this idea to the creature team, and they dug it. The idea being that he's actually like sort of a Voltron of ghosts that are just like mushed together into this super being.
It's the
and
best
so,
description.
Makes sense.
yeah. I mean, when that idea came up, I was just like, oh my god, I'm so excited. So we took that over there, and Ronald had some concepts that he had brought up with Katie, I believe, and I had also handed them some pictures that I pulled off of Google image search of just like gross like skin things attached together and like icky sticky anime things. And he took that idea and sort of merged it into a Gorseval concept and then brought that into the model. The model turned out really well. It's ghostly. It's
Pretty
ghostly.
It's disturbing at the very least.
It is disturbing at the very least. So then from there we worked with Scott and gave him a little bit more personality. So one of the issues is that we ended up putting him on the Wyvern or Wyvern rig.
It's Wyvern.
It's Wyvern. I've been corrected so many times. I put him on the Wyvern rig, which is interesting because Wyverns have wings, and he does not. So that's why his arms are all gangly and long. It's because he's on that cool dragon rig instead of the Oakart rig or Minotaur bipedal.
No, it's
we wanna-
Quad Minotaur.
It's
Do
not
we want to
quad
look at
Minotaur.
the Ocart rig?
It is biped Minotaur, but
Yeah.
it should be
Is it
quad.
biped
Let's
Minotaur?
see.
It is
Biped.
biped Minotaur.
Definitely
Oh my
biped.
God.
It should be quad Minotaur. You are functionally correct with how it moves
Yes.
about the land.
You guys have had
Points.
this discussion like 4 times now, and
And we're gonna
I
get it
thought there
right
would
at
be
one point,
agreement
Ruby, I
at
swear to
some point.
Christ.
Let's look at the Ocart rig and distract from this discussion. All right, so what are we starting with here?
Oh, well, this is one of the evolutions of the biped Minotaur rig. The first one was just set up for our sort of a little more fantastical creature. Several variants were done off that, and then it was tweaked a bit more to make the skeleton we just saw with continued little extrusion joints and stuff for like his shaky
Extra pieces.
branches and a longer tail, like just things that would come up. And oh, yep, that's the original.
And
And
his
It's
extra
biped
pieces.
because it has 2 legs. It may walk on its hands a little bit, but it's biped, not quad.
yeah,
Hey!
that guy.
And then it
There
turns
he is.
into this.
Yeah, out of the oak family, which was based off the biped Minotaur, we developed a bunch of sloths. And the one you just saw there, actually internally we call Buff Sloth.
Because he's super buff.
Cause he's jacked, yo.
That was a decision by the creature team what to name it, and like when I first clicked on it to open them up, like, well, we'll see about this. I'm like, oh, that is a Buff Sloth. That's
It
a very
is.
buff sloth.
I want Jason to describe everything.
What?
I just want Jason to describe
Did
all
Ruby just say she wants me to shut up?
Not
I
even
think-
a little bit. Nope. Nope. I want Jason to describe the
I was
things, then I want
very
Matt
upset.
to elaborate
No
on
one
them
had
because
ever
it's so
spoken to me
great.
like that before.
And you sit by them?
Well, I sit by this guy on the end
Yeah.
over here. That's why we had to separate us.
Oh my gosh. All right. So out of the Wyvern / Ocart / biped Minotaur? I don't want any. I'm scared I'm going to get the biped Minotaur conversation wrong, so I'm very hesitant.
It was
Well, you're
just
calling it
buff
the
sloth.
biped Minotaur to begin with, so that
So
You
I'm
already
all
won the
good?
argument.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
Okay. So out of all of these things, we're born buff sloth.
Yes.
All right. He's buff. He's kind of bigger than normal. How did the animations work when you scaled them up? Does it just
Oh, I don't know.
Okay,
I
you
just
make it-
I
you make
change a
it-
value and I go bigger, and then
And
I
then the
show it off to the
animators
animator, and the
freak out.
animator says, "Oh,
you have to leave now?
That is my concerned face that she's got there. But
Yeah.
no,
That was pretty good.
he had a concerned face." So we had a bunch of work to do on the rig to make him not slide around or to make him animate properly as
Okay.
a larger creature.
Yeah, and the way it works with that is it's a boss, so he's going to be bigger. I
Yeah.
think we usually scale up ×3 for that.
For raid bosses, they're
Yeah.
about 3 times bigger than regular creatures.
I just
So-
want to be like, tell me what Crystal did and how it made you feel.
It's like therapy.
Right?
I feel like I could work through some things, but no, when we scale up something that large, our engine just automatically scales movement and motion by 1/3. So it's that big, it's that much larger, but it's just sort of slowly lumbering around, moving at 1/3 the pace.
Mhm.
And you know what? Normally that works out fine, but we have an unusual case where sloths already begin. They sort of move slow to begin with, so we had to go through some complicated exports to actually make it work and appear how we wanted to in game. Which
Okay.
at one point meant authoring special walks and runs and other animations, and then having to export them out by 3 times the speed. So it's got kind of this Benny Hill wacky 70s comedy review feel
Let's
to
take
it.
a look. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here
And
here's
real
everything
quick-
working at normal scale.
Twitch chat, if you guys have questions, go ahead and put them in chat. We'll be talking about that later. Okay, go ahead, Matt.
That's our normal run. But to make it work for something 3 times the size, that's a little aggressive. Oh, and
It's
here
like a
comes.
little
Wait
This
for
is
it.
the best.
Like runway walk. It's like
That's
yop,
what we have
yop.
to do to make it move around at 3 times the size and still appear like that. But we did
That's-
it. and
Yeah,
should
so
be proud.
that's what he'll look like now. But like on the back end, the second 2 pieces of animation, that's what Matt had to do to make him look proper.
To make it look normal.
Basically, I just created a bunch of work for an animator, and I was like, "It's no problem, right?" You guys just
Y'all aren't doing
It's
anything.
Crystal who all us animators like personally, but when it's someone else, we'll make an excuse or something. Not feeling well, can't do it.
I made that other
That's when I
animation
go
look
to
great, though.
production.
We fixed that.
Yes,
Get my
yes, it
bulldogs
did.
on there.
Oh my gosh.
But
Alright.
that's really was just dealing with very specific locomotion stuff like that, moving around. We did a couple other things that we can't reveal just yet because they're a
Yeah,
little
we don't want
too
to talk about the mechanics.
too
this
crucial.
is-
You'll see that soon, but I think we can show our sort of little over the top, super dramatic death.
Yeah, the sloth.
He's got a new death
Slothasaur is-
animation.
Yeah,
He's-
he's super dramatic when you
important.
kill him off.
Boom.
This is the first time you've seen this, Jason. You're reacting so strongly to it.
Have you really not seen this before?
Ah, of course I've seen it.
Okay.
He just had a little excited,
I
like,
love it. It's like the light fades. Mother,
Exactly.
is that you?
there's a story behind that, but they'll have
Please
to
tell
wait
it.
until.
Oh.
No, you'll have to wait.
I thought there was like a
until-
work story behind it. I got excited.
Oh God, so many work stories. No, there's an actual like lore story behind that, but that will be revealed
You know
later.
what? It will
Wait for it.
It will be revealed soon, and like legit soon, not just nebulous in the future. Sometime soon, we can have.
Yeah. The 8th.
Okay. So we can't tell about that. Can we tell about my little friend who you murdered last week? Can we see some Bob
That could
the
be so
Slubling
many
stuff?
people.
She's
Whoa.
not Peter.
Yeah, like Peter has legit killed some things. I think. Oh, no, wait, that was Joel.
Well,
Joel
no,
when he murdered all the
is
deer.
super murderous too, but Peter's just like kill all the things. It's true.
It's people we work with.
You don't know this?
No, I was just
Wow.
sitting over here. I wasn't ready to learn all this. Did you know?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I'm
he's.
innocent.
I said I specifically didn't want to work with murderers, and they assured me that
Have
mean,
you
you can't
really had to
promise.
work with Peter Freeze that much?
he's over there right where I sit.
Oh, dude.
Against the window, looking over every now and then.
Well,
I mean,
that's
have you
why.
seen his little dog?
No.
He's
Oh
got
my
a
gosh.
little,
Little dog is
he's
so
got a
That
little
little dog was
Cheweenie,
running around
and his
today.
dog has
Cheweenie?
yeah,
lost
and
my
he has his
mind.
own Twitter account. And it's
It's true.
amazing because it's always just like run, run, run.
I
So
don't
they
even
That's all.
have a
That's all.
Twitter
That's all the
account.
dog knows how
The
to
Animation
do.
man's
at all,
dog
but-
has a Twitter account.
Yeah.
It's true.
That aside, we're talking about
Yeah, animation.
animations.
The dog weighs 4 pounds. It's the cutest thing ever.
It's
It
adorable.
does sound pretty adorable.
I'm not even kidding.
I lost my
I'm
mind.
sorry. We're back. Let's talk about Slubling, because he has
yeah.
some animations.
Yeah, so the Slubling is on the what is it called? No Leg Grub.
No leg grub.
Yeah,
rig.
so it's on
No
the same
leg. Are
rig
there
as.
grubs with legs?
Not to my
well,
knowledge, but
no, not really. I don't think they have legs.
oh, we need someone who has some science.
Grubs?
Did
Grubs
anybody
got
bring?
little, they got little, like little legs.
Can you do that
You know
again?
what I'm saying?
Thank you.
They got,
Their little wings. Like,
no, they got little like legs. So they just like.
That's
tick
almost
around
as
on
good
them.
as my demonstrating how a dragon works animation.
This is also why I'm not an animator. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
yeah.
That
I'm gonna need
I'd
a
watch
living
that.
gif of that at the soonest opportunity.
it's fine, right? It
We
is
have the
already made a
technology.
GIF, and it's
Fantastic.
up probably.
Slubling.
Gold.
Yeah. So the
Nobody
Slubling,
brought any science, so we'll just
So the
move on.
Clear
Slubling,
enough.
that grub rig has a bunch of new animations were added to it for the expansion. I think it was Scott Dickey that worked on those. Maybe.
You know what? I think it was Scott Dickey. When I opened up, I think that was his
Gotcha.
work.
And so there's a bunch of different they have new dodging animations and new jumping animations. And so we've got some footage of what that
Yay.
looks like.
Let's see, because we can show this off without giving too much away.
Yeah, so this is just me, using hacky dev commands and showing off, how the creatures can move. So he can bounce around and he can back up. We should have asked audio guys to add a little truck backing up
beep,
noise.
Beep. Yeah, I love he looks over his little shoulder when he's backing up. It's great.
Oh,
Can we do it again? Because it was pretty quick.
Once more, because he's so adorable.
Once
He's not
more,
going to
feel-
die in this video, because I don't want to traumatize Ruby again.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. You just didn't understand the depth of our friendship. It's okay.
I do now.
Crystal's like, what the hell is wrong with you?
No more traumatizing Ruby with deaths of cute, adorable little slublings.
He is pretty cute.
Should we answer some questions from the whole wide world?
You can absolutely answer questions.
These
from
are
the whole
all
wide
on
world,
you.
Or you can just
Yeah,
answer
Mr.
questions from the
Popular.
people in Twitch chat.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
let's see, from I think that's Reg944 asking what is your animation software. We still animate in Maya here. I'm very happy with that. I really prefer that to 3ds Max, but sometimes I'm trying to think. Sometimes we do some stuff with Motion Builder, but it's pretty much entirely all keyframed animation done with Maya, which is it's really nice. Working on that as opposed to cleaning up a lot of walk cycles or just how many different ways I can shoot this gun right in front of me. We get to do a lot of really fun stuff here. It's pleasant.
That kind of leads to that bottom question.
Oh, favorite creature animation you've worked on for the Guild Wars 2? I did an unlurk for the Wyvern where he's tearing up like the side of a cliff and then pounces down and sort of slides in at you. I'm trying to think specifically where that was used in game. I can't remember, but I had a lot of fun with that one.
Nice. That sounds kind of Tequaddle-ish. Is that where Tequaddle comes up, lands on the castle, and no?
No, just
Okay.
everyday ordinary Wyvern. Nothing special like Tequaddle.
Yeah, no big deal. Just your regular.
But no, actually,
Wyvern.
I'm remembering like I think that was Ian who did that Tequaddle stuff a long time ago.
Yeah, I think he did all the original Tequaddle stuff, and then I worked with Ian when we redid the
Yeah, the
Tequaddle for
cleanups.
Tequaddle Rising.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of
like it.
fun, like making him, like I was like, all right, just make him do something really cool when players fail. He's like, he's gonna run up, he's gonna bite down on that cannon and throw it off in the distance, and I was like, do it, just do it.
God bless.
Do it now. I gotta find a fail map.
Oh.
I keep being in maps that succeed, so I haven't seen that in a while.
I just realized there were.
Well,
You have to tell
I
us
love how
now.
that Wyvern animation turned out, but I had a lot of challenges, a lot of technical challenges with it. When I'm thinking about the most fun I've had, it was probably working on probably the tree frogs, Hylic tree frogs.
Oh yeah.
Really?
those guys are
Oh, are
pretty
you
neat.
kidding? With their little I'll cut you dual blades and their bows
Oh,
and
yeah.
smoke bombs and stuff. When I first pitched out smoke bombs, I thought there was no way, but they did it.
Those were super fun. I like those.
Yeah.
They look good. They
The
look
little
really good.
murderous eyes.
Mm.
No,
Yeah.
the original model had wide, big bug eyes as they occur in nature. I'm like, no, he's gonna be sinister, surly, unpleasant to be around.
They are that. They hurt. So thank
They're
you.
ambitious and misunderstood. How's that?
All right,
why I
that's
kill
fair.
'em all.
I like it.
Oh.
Let's distract Jason from his anger by talking about other things in Guild Wars 2 animation. Since we talked about Crystal making Sloth buff Sloth, and you had to kind of go in there and fix some of that, we talked about some of the gliding animations you had to fix.
We've been having a lot of
Yeah.
creatures that are suddenly gliding in our game, and it just does something to us animators. Once we see something in game that's not quite right, it may take months and scrounging for time to get it, but it's one of those things you really just have to work on until it's not broken anymore.
Mhm.
Just
I actually
Hard
feel kind of
stuff.
bad because I was really laughing at it. I thought it was super funny, and then Matt was like in pain as I'm giggling about these things, and
it was difficult.
I'm sorry.
But it was mostly what was going on. Your laughter was probably only responsible for 17% of that pain. Most of it was
Okay.
what I was seeing.
Okay,
So that's a fair number.
that's not too bad.
Yeah,
I reined it in a little bit.
I'll take it.
All right.
But
let's
very
see.
specifically, we were talking about
The mushrooms.
in game. I'm trying to remember the specific event. It takes place in
Octovine?
yeah, the Octavine event.
Octavine.
You transform into a mushroom and then you glide and drop little bombs and stuff.
It's so cute.
Yeah, for a long time I remember. I don't know if we actually had an image for it, but the
We
glider
do.
was
Let's see.
bisecting. Yeah, just sort of
Oh, man.
cleaving right through that little guy while he was floating around and whatnot. After I saw that, I was just so upset that I didn't realize how much work we were getting into, but we did about 5 additional animations to make it look right and feel good.
Uh-huh. So
Because
did you fix it? Can we see?
everyone playing Guild Wars 2 deserves that. See how pleasant?
Yay.
How much
It is
happier
better.
he is?
How much more right it looks.
Yes. You have to think
We're always
that would
starting
hurt.
from right. Or hopefully getting there.
Hey,
Yeah, now you
check
get
it
a
out.
better view of its bum.
Exactly.
It's right up there.
I don't think that was the point. That's just kind of a bonus.
No, that's what people were asking for.
Silver
More
Oh.
mushroom butt
linings.
all the time.
More mushroom butt.
What
No,
rig are
but
these
when
on?
you have your little tonic and you're gliding around, just
Oh yeah, being a mean person. What rig are these guys on again?
They're on
Oh.
the Scrit rig.
it's the Scrit rig
Yeah,
actually.
they're basically like Scrit with their arms cut off. So they're just like little feet.
They just have this the way they were originally animated. They have this great like sort of little tearing across Warner Brothers cartoony motion to them and stuff. So, just lopping off the top part of them, putting a little mushroom hat on top. It worked great, and
It's
they
not
just
as
went
bad
with
as
it.
it sounds.
They love it. They can't feel it.
Yeah, they're fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Look, there's a question.
Oh, okay.
You're so popular.
How long does it take to do animation? I am sure there is a range depending on the complexity, but can you give a range of time? As you mentioned in your question, it really all depends on exactly what you're animating. I've taken days to make certain things happen with Wyvern just right. A lot going on with that. On the other hand, I remember I did like the main fireball animation for him. I think that like took just over half a day. We just knew exactly what we wanted, a very simple mechanic. But I I'd say about a day, day and a half, depending on which animation you're doing. Might take a little bit longer to do a death. Might be a little easier to do a certain antic or spell cast. It all depends, and this is the actual time spent animating. Before that, you want to do lots of drawings of your creature. You want to figure out how it moves, the personality you want to give. So the more you do that sort of like preparing work, the easier it'll be to do the actual animation, the more it'll inform it. And of
Yeah.
course, asking Crystal and making sure that it'll be what she needs.
Even if it's not raids.
Uh,
Anything in the game.
Anything in the game. I mean, it depends on like the size of things too. Like the really big dragon world bosses. Like I remember Quaddle's the fail animation he does when he eats the laser. That took Ian probably a good 3 weeks to do that. There was some back and forth because we had to take sections of the map and like export that as a scene and then give that to Ian so he could actually
I remember
animate
that.
him so that like he would look like he was stepping on the ground and not like clipping through things. So he had
Hollywood
to know,
trickery.
yeah, so he had to know the exact positioning, and then we gave all that information to James Barwick, who is like one of our prop artists, and he does a lot of the animations, like the really complicated animations in a lot of our prop sets. So then he was able to take all that information and import it, and then like queue up the mega laser. I think there's like a point where it gets like kind of chunked down where he bites onto it, and then animate it at the exact same timing as Tequaddle was throwing it, and then just have it like fly off in the distance and explode.
Jeez.
So it was a really big team effort
collaboration on
between,
that.
and all I had to do was like, look, I pressed some buttons, and I'm like, you
I'm just
guys
firing
just tell
some
me
triggers,
when to
that's
fire
fine.
some stuff,
Nice.
and then between the two of those, we got that stuff working out. But like stuff like that can take a while.
So I'm going to expand on that one myself. What's one of the more complicated projects you've had thrown at you?
You speaking to him or me?
You.
Oh, let's see. More complicated things that Crystal just brought up, dealing with the Tequaddle situation. Whenever we're having to work really closely with certain effect timings or props that have to have their own animation sets, anytime we need to bring in like I guess an environment sort of into Maya, like just a rough version of it, so that we can make it appear as though it's moving across things in game,
Yeah.
like making it look right.
Now that you're on the spot,
There's
it's hard to
just
think
a
of an
list
example.
of so many, just a list of so many different things. But I guess off the top of my head, it'd probably be any of the prop boss work that we've done.
You did some work to clean up the Mordrim Breachers at one point, didn't you?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it.
Hang on,
It
let me
all
have you
depends.
define a prop boss first, because we know not everybody there knows.
Oh well, we have different types of exports in game for things that you'll be interacting with or fighting. Creatures, of course, and we've been trying to make more of bosses based off creatures recently. But for a long time, the really big bads would be prop bosses because it just gave more control to like certain aspects of modeling, keeping things in place in maps, all of that. But yeah, those can be a hassle to export, and there's always a lot of different things going on. anytime you've got more collaboration going, you do have to go back and forth and check and look into these things, and it takes time, but it's really satisfying when it all comes together.
It was one of the big things, because I was on the creature team for a couple of months on the expansion before moving over to the raids team. It was one of the big things that everyone wanted. Or like, okay, we want to make big creatures. We don't want to just have them be restricted to these like Tequatl type things where they can't move. So I think the Chalk Gerant is like one of the first big
that
ones
guy.
we did. And Ian and I had worked on that like initially and did like all the prototype work for it. And that was like kind of one of our big test cases for like, we've got this big, huge thing. Like, how does it work in the world? And like the big concern is when they do weird things, like they get close to walls and then half their body gets covered up because they're standing inside the wall.
Oh,
And it just doesn't
no.
look good. So we had to come up with a way. And so the wyverns or wyverns. What is it?
I forgot.
I think it's wyverns.
The wyverns?
I always say Wyvern,
It's
but
fine.
I feel like I had to be
Twitch
corrected
chat's
into
gonna correct
that.
me right
I
now.
think
if
I got
I'm
mad
wrong.
yesterday and went with Wyvern because I just gave up.
What about Hermione?
Oh god.
Oh, you have to tell that story. I can't
Oh
believe I
my
forgot.
Not
God.
Hermione,
The
but
Hermione story.
I've
Okay.
forgotten the
Hermione.
terrible-
Come
Hermione.
on.
Hermione.
That's it. Okay.
It's
So
the best.
early development of the wyverns. When Dave Mark was here consulting as like an AI expert for us, the creature team got a big debate one day over whether it was wyvern or wyvern. And like half the team was like, no, it's this. The other half the team was like, no, it's that. And then of course someone goes to Google, but Google says like 3 or 4 different things.
Google said Wyvern.
It said wyvern. Well, there we go. So
Google.
years and years ago, my old roommate back when I lived in Toronto, he had read some of the Harry Potter books before he saw the first movie, and he was reading it, and he gets to the first time they introduce her character, and he goes, Hermione, that's a weird name. And so that's how he pronounced it, because he didn't know how to pronounce it. And then he went and saw the movie. It was like, Hermione! Oh my god! And so, and then it clicked. But like I brought up that story while we were having this big debate, and then Dave Mark goes, fine, we're calling it Hermione, and he just walked away. That was the end of the debate.
That was Dave Mark's biggest contribution while he was here. I think he probably did more things, but that's going to be the thing that stuck.
That's
It's
the
just
thing we remember.
interesting about that because the exact same thing happened to me about 2 years before the first Harry Potter movie came out. I remember I was working the register at like an art supply store somewhere, just like, I'll read this second Harry Potter book. Hermione, what the hell? And I thought to myself, oh, it must be one of those traditional British names. And I was not
Very
familiar with
traditional
it.
Hermione.
Yes.
Goes way back.
It happened to me. It's happened to lots of folks, I assume.
Okay.
Maybe.
Cool.
No.
It's happened to 2 people.
2 people.
That's a start.
Yes, it's probably happened to more, but those are the only ones I know about. I have said wrong words because I only learned them through reading, so it's totally allowed. I don't remember where we were when we got off track, but I wanted to make sure the Hermione story got told.
Oh, God.
Prop
It is
bosses
important.
and what
Prop
they
buses.
Well, there's actually a question
Yeah.
that is actually talking about that from Domoff Doom. He says he has a question. He's never seen a final fight like a dragon stand before. How long does it take something like that to usually animate? And that's getting into prop boss territory.
Who did?
Scott Dickey did all the animations
okay.
for Morramoth.
Gotcha.
Scott Dickey's kind of a stud, so he probably turned that on a lot quicker than many of us would. No, he's
That's
fantastic.
an amazing answer.
It's just beautiful to watch his work. How many movesets are involved in that?
I know there was like an unlurk where it comes up and an lurk, and then there were a couple of attack animations, and then there was the crazy death animation where he like drives himself through that tree.
That's right. Okay, with all that going on, that I'd say
A
like
couple months.
Wow, really?
I think it was a couple months
Yeah,
worth
it
of
went
work.
for a couple months. With Z, like even doing some of the design work.
Yeah, it was a couple months to hook that up for Mike on the design end, and also probably at least 2 months, I think it was.
Yeah, it might be 2.5 months of animation work.
Yeah.
Jeez. So as a non-animator, what's a moveset? What defines a single moveset?
Oh, well, I'm just listing when these things, we animate them in Maya,
Okay.
run them through our exporter, and when they come to Crystal as like an asset, there's the creature, and then just by selecting through, it's got all the different animations it'll do. Its alert, idle, walk, run,
Okay.
lurk, unlurk. Yeah,
Gotcha.
all the things it can do.
Okay.
Like different sequences.
Yeah.
And
All right.
that's how we call them
See
in
if
the
you
game.
lurk, unlurk, all of that. That I understand. You just have to find the words that I know, and we're all good.
It's why oftentimes when we're building like raid bosses, we try to find a rig that like is cool and like is going to work for what we need, because getting a few extra animations for a specific rig means we could probably get like maybe 3 or 4 if we needed them, whereas if it's something that's completely brand new on a totally new rig and then doing, as Matt says, like the move set, that takes a lot more time.
Yeah, well, like obviously the Wyvern wouldn't have a lot of animations that Gorsval had, so that's why it was an even bigger ordeal that he got his own custom model, because I used the Okar because it had so many reusable animations, like the ground slam and stuff that is still maintained on Gorsval right now, but because they had to do custom animations for him, it took him a lot longer to develop, because Wyverns don't have hands to
Details.
bang the bongos with.
That's a whole other
Bongos.
great big argument.
Really?
Oh, well, always the first question. Do you want to do a wyvern, or do you want to do a dragon, which has 4 legs and little wings, or do you want to do a traditional old school wyvern? It's important. That must have been what he was doing when, not to my face or whatever.
He kind of made like a little shoulder gesture,
Okay.
a little shimmy.
Well, we'll deal with that later. But we have some questions, I think. Another one from Reg944. Do you also use Maya for your modeling and texturing work? Thank you for asking the question. Yeah, our modelers, they usually start off working in ZBrush. ZBrush, when it comes to the sculpts, and then they'll bring it back into Maya and like get it to a point that they can have an export into game for that. But when they're in there really doing the, I guess the art of what they do, the true sculpting, ZBrush seems to be what's really popular here. In the past, I know other modelers have used other software packages or even brought on some other stuff of their own to like just do whatever it takes to get it, to make it so that they're most... You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, to make... Sorry. Whatever can get it to where they're most pleased with it as a sculpt, then they can bring it over to Maya and start working on topology and like, reducing the number of faces. That doesn't mean... What I just said doesn't mean anything to most people listening, but if you're a 3D nerd... Well, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain
like
vertexes versus faces versus... Thanks for showing up.
Actually, I'm gonna.
I hope that helps to answer your question, Reg.
I'm gonna grab this last one real quick from Radical Isotope because you all deserve it. It's not a question, but a comment/compliment. I have to say that as an amateur animator, the character animations are the best in the industry. They're the standard against which I judge other games, and very few measure up.
Wow. Thank you.
Nice.
We try very hard. If you're looking specifically for, I just want to throw some praise on a guy here named Hongman Leung. I don't know if you could convince Hongman to show up and be on one guild chat at some point. But I know. I can't even believe I'm here right now. But just watching that guy's character animation, it's just so beautiful, and it's all sheer effort. Like there's no half step in there. He's just so focused, and he'll do whatever it takes to make it work and make it beautiful. And we're very, very fortunate to be able to like just sit there and like take in some of his work.
That's extremely cool.
But yeah, man, wow, I'm part of a really, really excellent stable of animators here at ArenaNet. It's very pleasant.
Yes, you are. It's
very
nice.
pleasant.
Let's see. Did we get them all? Did we miss one of those top 2?
Okay.
There's
Or
one
do we have
asking
them
about
all?
IKA.
Let's see. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Can anyone give
Which
me a
one?
shot?
Voluptus?
Voluptus 3509.
The 3509 is important.
When you animate a rig, do you prefer IKA or reverse? If both, then when you might prefer to use each? I believe you're speaking about the difference between animating limbs in IK versus FK. I think that might be what we're speaking about, but let's explain what that is. This will be fun.
Please.
And really important for people that love playing MMOs. If you're animating in FK, it's a little bit more like a puppet. Like we have controls here and like lift this up, this joint, then from here, rotate this, rotate that. That's FK animation called forward kinematics. Inverse kinematics is when at some point we just say, okay, this is planted right here. No matter what, it's going to stick to this like glue. And we use different controllers to sort of control the angle or tilt of what's going on outside of that. I would say with the sloth death animation we just saw, I chose to keep his arms in, it begins in IK because he's all hunched down and doing stuff like that. At one point, we switch over and go into forward kinematics because it makes it easier to get those really dramatic
When
arcs.
the flailing starts.
And you know what? Normally, when he crashes to the ground, just because it's going to be just a limb bouncing on the ground like that, I try to switch it back to IK. But I chose to stay with FK just because I thought there'd be a little bit more of a natural roll. I'd have to work a little bit harder to make it
Yeah.
a little more giant buff sloth crashing into the ground as opposed to just what we would normally do for an everyday sloth.
That was a really good
One of those
explanation.
prosaic
It
stuff.
was.
I feel like I
was
so
going
much
into
more
that like,
educated
wow,
now.
I can't wait for 20 seconds into this where I'm suddenly like using a bunch of bizarre terms and not making any sense. But thank you.
If you can make it make sense to somebody who has no animation and programming experience, you've done really well.
I'm
And
feeling good about it,
I
Ruby, I'll
understood
tell
it,
you.
so there you go. Awesome. Ooh, that last question. I like that one.
Fave area of content. Sorry, this is from Kit the Traveler.
Hey, kid.
I
I
know
like
Kit.
that name.
Wonder what the fave area of their content they like to play besides their own area of work.
What?
Jason.
Well, we're putting you on the spot.
No, I have a lot of fun just running around doing the meta events in Hot. I totally dig that.
I like hanging out with my Hylic in hot air. The friendly ones at least.
Just the friendly ones.
Which
Well, I
one?
like to go up and just see how they're just surly. And then one of them was playing a lute. I worked
Oh,
pretty hard to
yeah,
get
that
that in
one.
there. That I insisted there be at least several musical frogs. And there'll be more in the future, I'm sure.
Really?
I animated them. They're going to put them in. I'm hopeful.
It is pretty darling.
There was like real conviction, then it kind of faded at the end. Like, I hope.
No, I'm like,
be great.
it's going to happen. I'm going to realize I have no power over that. I better start being nicer to Crystal and Jason.
I mean, it's hanging out in the lobby,
I
like our
think-
dev lobby.
No, he's in the jungle. The one with the loot?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
part of his story
I
stuff.
was just saying, like,
he won't
more,
talk
more
to you unless
places
you're
in the game.
gliding.
I did this whole elaborate setup with with the Hylic tree frogs, and I even grabbed some of the giant big bullfrogs, and I did this
Yeah.
entire little setup where they were all hanging around a campfire.
What?
One's just roasting something on the end of a stick. I think it's a fish. Another one's just sort of sitting there, like staring off into the distance because things aren't working out. And there's another one sitting on a tree stump, not standing this time, just playing his little heart out. And there's another frog right next to him that you can tell isn't that interested in what's going on. And yeah, I took one of the giant bullfrogs. I think I've got him roasting a cow leg prop that we have. And there's
Should've
one
been a
where he's
frog
passed
leg.
out drunk, sleeping, holding a bottle of booze.
Frog leg. Yeah. That's inappropriate for the frogs to be.
That would have been so good.
I don't know. Times get rough, Crystal. For all we know,
know.
that's how it had to work.
There's packed rations all over the jungle.
That's true.
You just need a crowbar.
There's no excuse.
No, I
They were
looted
looking
all
for
those.
that, but
They're gone. I'm sorry. There wasn't anything edible. This needs to be in game. We have to have this.
I'm hopeful.
It's
I'm
important.
hopeful they'll get in there. Oh, and a couple of them are off to the side, gutting fish and cleaning them. Someone has to do the work.
Yes.
It's true.
Yeah, I thought of everything, didn't I?
You did. Are you not okay with the cow leg? Is that what the problem
No,
is?
no. It was
No,
the
I
frog.
was-
No,
I was
Jason said
suggesting
frog
that it be a
leg. He's
frog
like,
leg.
what if they were roasting
Frog
a frog
leg.
leg? And I'm like,
Jason.
that
They're
is.
roasting.
That's not okay.
That's
I like how
not
Ruby
okay.
was standing up for beef.
I'm a little hungry.
I love cow.
It's
Oh,
almost
man, I could go
lunchtime.
for a burger.
It's after lunchtime. All right, what's your favorite part?
Oh. Well, I'm not allowed to say raids, apparently. I have to pick something else.
You did work on raids. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Shut yourself right out of there.
Oh, man. I can't say world bosses either.
You've worked on a lot of things. We might
I've
give you a
worked on a
slight
lot.
pass.
I've worked on
Okay,
a lot of random things.
You have to leave out the things you're working on right now. How's that?
Okay. I mean, I guess I could say, like, the one thing I do like going back to, when, randomly you get sick and you're just like, I can't really think or function right now. So I'm just
It's
going to
almost
sit
as if
here.
that happened to you recently.
It's almost like it happened last weekend where I got really sick and I just binged on CSI for like 3 days.
Which city?
Original. I don't like New
Oh.
York. I don't know why. It's a little boring. And I love Miami though because it's because it's ridiculous and over the top. But no, I sat down and I had like a mesmer. I got to 80 recently and I was like, I have nothing better to do. I feel horrible. Like I'm just a congested mess. So I just sat down. I started like map completing again. So I've almost completed
Nice.
I did another world complete. I don't know
Very
why
cool.
I'm doing it. I don't know. It's kind of fun.
That's kind of all the reason you need. Is
It's
hey,
you
it's
you do
fun.
you make questionable choices when you're sick.
To have fun.
I had fun. I had a lot of
There
of
you
fun.
go.
Nailed it.
You had fun. The end. You're all good. All right, those are good answers.
My questionable
I like them.
choices lead to me being sick, so I'm
Uh,
doing it backwards.
Oh.
That's a whole different live stream. It's Guild Chat After Dark.
I was waiting for that. Like, this whole pitch for Guild Chat After Dark sounds pretty good.
Yeah, and remember how that conversation ended was that I like my job and I want to keep it. So we're not going to do that.
Or do you want to make very adventurous Twitch TV?
I like my job and I want to keep it.
Fair enough.
Is the decision here. All right.
Oh,
Do we have more?
just real quick. Mike2272, do you use mocap or is everything animated by hand? I'd say at this point, 97% of what you see in game is hand animated, key animated, as opposed to motion capture. I think years ago we might have used a little bit of that for.
There's that
Just-
video floating around of Leah in a mocap
Oh, that's
suit.
no. I remember that day. Like I think I just come back from lunch or something, and there were 3 of my coworkers out there, and the whole get-up rig's just running around, and just like.
Dark times.
I think that mocap suit is right over there,
Oh heavens!
by the
Wow.
way.
what?
I will
This was
say
Put it on.
this was
I
like
want
years ago
to.
before we even launched.
we
like
still
before
have
we
it.
moved into
Yeah,
this
it was
building.
a long time ago, but we still have it. This
But-
was the mocap room.
Man, I remember this. Wow, this room has been many things to many people, but
It has.
I'd say that when we're using mocap, it was very specific instances where it plays to its strengths. Like, you really can't do a mesmer cast in real life and then just have it captured. It's hard to get actors to float.
It's true. There aren't very
Um,
many.
I guess situations where you'll see a player standing around or idling for a long time, just doing slight little minor movement.
Mhm.
That's where it really is its greatest strength for
Yeah.
us and most useful. But
But
hard to
nobody's like
mocap
sloth
pilot
walking through the
frogs or-
halls in a mocap suit.
not yet. But if we could convince someone that could help, even though it wouldn't, it'd be funny as hell.
You're someone.
I mean, we could do
You are
like bear
someone.
crawls down the hall. Like, get our fitness on.
Jason
Throw that
is someone.
mocap suit. Bear crawl. And then you got your sloth.
I don't know what a bear crawl is.
What? That's when you walk like a bear and you do it like back and forth through the room.
I'm pretty sure he knows and he's just trying to get you to do
No,
it.
I have no idea. I
Really?
didn't know this was a thing.
Really?
Bear crawls? Oh yeah. They're terrible.
Where did you learn about
You
bear
can, like,
crawls?
Do them up
Kindergarten?
the hill and you just throw up.
Yeah, that was not
See, this is one of those things where it's like I feel like people that talk a lot about how much they love CrossFit or something do that, and then
That's
they fall
totally
down
where I
and hurt
learned it. It was
themselves. but
CrossFit. It's like, I'm gonna do this.
CrossFit.
And did you throw up at the
you
top
do
of the hill?
CrossFit too?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was
Wait,
like, oh
who
man,
does
we can't have
CrossFit?
two. Huh?
Who does CrossFit?
Brian
Ross.
Porter.
Ugh.
Oh, and Ross.
Yeah.
Oh, we have two. Oh man. Okay.
I like those videos where people get hurt bad.
There's another question at the bottom. Jeez.
Who would you say are your biggest animation influences? Well, immediately the people around me that I'm really inspired by the people. I have to come in and work with some of the absolute best, so it really pushes me to my max. But probably, if I could think of 2 animators that whose work really means a lot to me, I'd say Milk Call, like one of the Disney originals. And do you remember the Jungle Book?
That was my
Yes.
first movie.
He did Shere Khan, and like just the amount of detail and holding volume and just like personality that he like injected into what originally was supposed to be like more of a wimbly, cowardly, like conniving character, and then Milt got in there and he's just like, no, we're gonna do it this way, just kind of insisting upon it and really working to make sure that's what it was. Not just probably, in my opinion, the best animator that ever worked for Disney, also just his attitude, his outright rejection of laziness. You can, there are several animation podcasts where they've brought up like these old like audio lectures that he was giving people like in the 70s or something, and he's just, you could just hear it in his voice how he's just not taking any crap. He's like, oh, well, of course, reference is important. You're gonna need a lot of that reference there and stuff, but you can't just be based right off this. Or you're a lazy son of a bitch. Then you just
I like
you're
him.
not expecting that to come out of him, but like just his insistence on form and like just
Doing it right.
better than right. Good
Aw.
old milk call. And
I love it.
on the exact opposite end of it, there's Glenn Keane, who's just, you can be an animator and be a wonderful human being who's nice to be around and has a happy family life and all these other good things going on. I steers away from the animator as drunken malcontent stereotype that you hear about so much.
What did he do?
Glenn Keane? Oh, like I'm so I'm so surprised everyone hasn't been following Glenn Keane's career.
Sorry.
I
I'll
guess
get right
his most
on that.
standout work would be he did Ariel in The Little Mermaid, and my favorite performance, probably the work he did for The Beast and Beauty and the Beast.
Cool.
I remember, like, just once again going back to, there's some really great animation podcasts where Glenn Keane, just this super nice guy, really not coming from an art background and stuff. I remember like there's this famous animation school called Cal Arts, and I remember when he first like was thinking about going there, he's like, "Do you guys have a football team?" They don't, if you're into animation or understand these things, but just how he threw himself into it. I remember he was talking one time, this like pre-recorded speech he had from this interview. He was talking about he was trying to find like this end scene that he had to animate for Beauty and the Beast, and he's completely at a loss. He does not know what to do. He's so upset with himself. And I remember him like just saying, like, he was going through these things. It's like, I'm going to go in there tomorrow and they're going to realize I don't know what I'm doing. They're going to realize I'm a fraud. They
Oh my
never should have
gosh.
trusted me to any of this stuff at all. They'll know that I should just give up. And like, I remember he was saying, he sort of found hope in some of that. He was like, it's not so bad. I'll finally be able to spend time with my wife. I'll
Oh,
finally be able to spend all
jeez.
this time with my wife. He's thinking to himself, he's like,
Crap.
We're
I'll be
capping
able
off
to-
This,
I'll be able
show
to-
today a little sad.
I'll be able to learn how to paint. I'll be able to like see my kids all the time. And it's just like this heart-wrenching stuff coming
Oh my
out of you. But
gosh.
he went in, and of course, like his writers, his whole production team totally supported him. They said, just do what you have to find this and go out. And like, I think he went over to like a library where they have some sort of archives, and he was like looking at just like these classical drawings from like the Middle Ages or things like that, and just sitting there drawing in front of them, and like it eventually came to him. But even one of the best animators there is, and this really great guy, when it comes to art, we all go through these sort of lulls, and picking ourselves up from that and going through to complete the best Wyvern unlurk coming up the side of a cliff and crashing into you it's a universal thing. Oh, I also love Chris Sanders, Lilo and Stitch.
Thank you for the reference without having to ask for it. I mean,
I'm trying
I
to get better.
totally know all these people. I just want to make sure they know.
Oh,
Obviously.
I like
So
Ruby.
full of crap. I'm so full of crap. On that
I
note,
still like
it's
Ruby.
getting really, really late. This is really good. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And March 8th for Salvation Pass.
Yeah.
Yay. Next raid win. Thank you, guys. Have a good time in game, and I'll see you next Friday.
Thank you so much for tuning in and your great questions.